Okay, so you've done a bunch of jobs. You've got obviously your career's on track. I mean, I feel like every time I turn on my TV, either my TV or my iTunes, it's like there's a new movie with Ron in it or a new show. You are booked and busy. This is like I feel like things are firing on all cylinders for you right now. It's amazing.
Thank you very much. I'm just trying to be active and nimble, but also like, none of it is like, oh, I think this will be thing. Like a lot of the things I've gotten have just been like, oh, I think that's cool. And then it turns out like, I mean, a big thing for me, I think recently, has just been just that last Blockbuster documentary
Yeah.
because it ended up being like #1 on Netflix. And like, I think my face was the thumbnail for
It
quite a
was. Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
And so that was huge for me. And that wasn't like, hey, we're making this documentary for Netflix. It was just some guys hit me up on Instagram and were like, oh, we like your comedy. We're just looking out for people who we need some, we have the story, but we need some funny. And we know, and I was like, oh, I used to live in Bend, Oregon. I'm familiar with that Blockbuster. And
Yeah.
that was it. It was like, oh, that sounds fun. An hour out of my day is fine. And then it's like, boom, then the people were like, oh, I've seen you on this, and then you're on this. And it's all just like from doing all the things I love to do, is just hang out with friends I enjoy and keep working with the people I like. And they just keep putting me in more projects. I actually bomb at most auditions. I mean, not bomb, I get close, but they don't pick me. They tend to not pick me at auditions, but my friends look out for me.
How I mean, yeah, before we get into other shows that you're working on, because the audition process sucks. I've always like I very rarely book stuff through an audition too. It's been like through word of mouth or friends of friends. Like I am terrible at auditions as well. I think I don't you just get in your head too much or like what happens to you?
Oh no, I gotta say how I put it, because sometimes I crush them. It's just I think I am a unique individual, and I think a lot of times I mean, I know just because I write myself, and sometimes you go in these things and they have a view of who they want, and if they didn't pick me from the get go, which is sometimes what happens, I have a hard time convincing them otherwise, because I'm never like, just even the way I speak is not like I'm gonna read it the way you probably wrote it.
Right.
So
Right.
it takes a lot. Like I get a lot of callbacks, I get a lot of things like that, but then they're always like, well, you don't quite fit the thing.
What was your worst audition experience?
I was just talking about it with my wife. I was just talking about it.
Let's relive it.
It was one of the first years of coming out here. I hadn't even gone to acting class yet, so I didn't know what I was doing at
In
all.
Los Angeles, you mean in Hollywood, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. And I went and did an audition for not Modern Family, Happy Endings, I think it's
Okay.
called.
Yeah.
And I just bombed so bad that I just stopped in the middle of the audition and I apologized. And I was like, I just don't know what I'm doing here. I'm sorry, I'm wasting your time. And then my manager pulled me off of auditions for months and just told me to go to got me an acting coach, which was the best decision. That was actually the best thing we did, because it got me it's same, I felt the same way with stand-up, which is like, oh, if I bomb, it doesn't make me want to quit. It just makes me want to get better. It just makes me want to tighten it up.
And it can be very scary because I mean, for people that have not auditioned for anything, it's like you walk into a room. If for me, anyways, I already feel like they don't like me. They're bored of the day. They've been through a bunch of people just kind of cycling through, saying the same lines, trying to bring this like fun energy to the room. Like it can be so grueling. And they just kind of stare at you or they stare through you often as well. And you're just
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my God, should
And
I
the reader's
even
not reading with any emotion, and you're so then you start over doing it.
You're like, I'm gonna add a kiss into this scene. I think we need it. It's horrible. I don't miss those days, but I think it's funny because I've not auditioned in such a long time because I've been working with WWE for so long and just doing things here and there. But I kind of miss that awkwardness. Maybe I'd
Mm-hmm.
be better at it now.
It could be fun. I mean, to me, it's never more fun than when I already have a job. Like if I already have something else,
Totally.
then it's like, all right, whatever. You don't have any power over me. I'm going to show you what I would do. and this is it. But when I don't, or if I really love it, then it's the worst. When I'm like, oh, actually, I like this script and I think this would be great, then it becomes a whole nother thing. And you can't, there's no way of faking it or getting out of it. And I just had one recently where I was like, oh, this would be great and stuff. But then it was all over like Zoom and FaceTime. And then they were like, well, in this scene, you're just looking into the distance with judgment. And I'm like, why can't you just trust that I could do that? Like,
Yes.
you can't think I can't do that on the day. We need to audition that part.
Just give me an eye line and we'll call it out there. Give me where you want me to look and
So
you've got it.
And then don't smile. Got it.
Done and done. I got very concerned about that when I was leaving WWE because I didn't have something else lined up. I'm like, it's the time for me to leave, time to go find something new. But that did enter my brain because it's like, there's nothing worse than trying to get a new gig when you don't already have a job. It's like that, like stress or you just put so much more pressure on yourself when you go in. It can be kind of gnarly. So
people, I mean, I learned, not always, but lately it's like when you're dating, like you're never more attractive than when you feel like you're a catch and you're like, oh, I could have you should be lucky to be around me. So yeah. Oh, if you think I'll have another date tomorrow, who cares?